Hello and welcome to Nick's Nerd News. This is where you come to listen to breaking news when it comes to the nerd world. That means we have breaking video game news, movie news, and TV news. If you want to hear about the latest games, the latest movies, and everything else, stick around. Because here's your host, Nick, from a tiny studio in San Diego.
Do you remember the 21st night of September? There was never a cloudy day. How are you guys doing? Happy September 24th. Obviously, you know, the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. I was telling a friend you could turn it into a horror story, I think. We're not going to get into that, though. Welcome to the show. Happy to be here. Episode 385. And before we get into anything, look, what happened last week? I don't like to go on rants like that. I don't like to talk about things like that, especially when they pertain to people's ideologies. I don't want to alienate people because that's not what nerd stuff is about, right? It's about bringing people together, common understanding, things like that. But it's a major news in you know, Hollywood and stuff. So we have to cover it, but not in ways that I should have to talk about it like that. And I apologize if some of you were upset by that. And like I said, I don't want to talk about things like that. And unfortunately, there's a couple more things we're going to talk about this week in relation to similar situations. Luckily, Kimmel is back, and I think there was a market response to it that we're going to talk about as well. I don't know if anything has been actually verified, but there's guesstimates, so we'll talk about that. But we're going to talk about fun stuff for the most part. There is some negative news in regards to other things going on, so that is going to be talked about. But don't get me wrong, there's still fun stuff, like the fact that the PlayStation State of Play today finally showed off gameplay for Insomniacs' Wolverine game. We've been waiting years at this point, and we finally saw gameplay, and we have a release window, which is still quite a ways away, unfortunately. So there's that. And some other things were announced there. Xbox has announced another set of price hikes. That's twice this year. And the pricing strategy, I don't know what the hell they're thinking, to be honest. It's a little ridiculous with their logic behind it. We're also going to talk about Disney Plus price hikes at the wrong fucking time. Again, we're back to cable. We're back to cable. But positive news. Positive news. We finally got a trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. That trailer was shown off at Celebration Japan months ago. And now it's been finally released to the general public. And then Daredevil Born Again was renewed for a third season. We are going to talk about all of that today. But before we get to the news, why don't you head over to nixnerdnews.com. That is the one-stop shop for all things Nick's Nerd News. You can listen to the show right in your browser, or you can take us on the go, because I got links, all the links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Right? Also, check out the social media tab. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We got a Facebook. And guess what? YouTube's also a social media site. What? Anyway, let's not waste any more time and get straight to the news, shall we? All right, how you guys doing? Let's get back to what our regularly scheduled programming is about. So, remember a few weeks back we talked about Tencent making a game that was pretty much a copy of Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, the plot has thickened yet again. Tencent is pushing back against the lawsuit, saying that is nothing, saying that they're not breaking anything because Sony is claiming that it's a clone of Horizon Zero Dawn. Tencent is saying otherwise. They have called the lawsuit as impermissible, and especially because they're trying to own things like, quote, well-trodden tropes, unquote, like red-headed heroines fighting robot dinosaurs. Sorry, no, that is purely not a trope. So they're also claiming that it's too close to Ninja Theory's game Enslaved Odyssey to the West, which features a red-headed heroine fighting robot beasts. I don't think I've ever seen that before in that game. This legal filing that the Game Post has found, Tencent is saying that Sony's move is an overreach, and saying it's similar to The Legend of Zelda on Far Cry as well, which, again, I don't think that. Tencent said, quote, by suing over an unreleased project that merely employs the same time-honored tropes embraced by scores of other games released both before and after Horizon, like Enslaved, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Far Cry Primal, Far Cry New Dawn, Outer Wilds, Biomutant, and many more, Sony seeks an impermissible monopoly on genre conventions, unquote. Yeah, I'm going to call bullshit on some of that. So, Sony is claiming that it's an original concept. However, Tencent is claiming that it's been, quote, flatly contradicted, unquote, by behind-the-scenes documentary made by Van Beek that I guess Tencent is claiming that Guerrilla shelved work on Horizon due to its alleged similarities with Enslaved Journey to the West. However, saying, quote, long before this lawsuit was filed, the developers of Horizon Zero Dawn publicly acknowledged that the very same game elements that today Sony claims to own exclusively were in fact borrowed from an earlier game. Mr. Van Beek warned, I don't think we should do this. It touches too much of these other points, referring to prominent elements of Enslaved. Sony shelved the project only to revive it later with full awareness that the idea was far from novel. When Horizon Zero Dawn finally launched in 2017, the gaming community noted its striking resemblance to Enslaved and other genre staples, unquote. I can understand the Far Cry thing. I don't ever remember hearing it being compared to Enslaved. So we'll see ultimately where this ends up going. I have a feeling that it won't. Major CEOs in the gaming world have been called to testify before Congress in the wake of the horrific events that happened 2 weeks ago. An assassination on a prominent figure within the United States. I'm sure most of you are aware of the situation by now. But a U.S. House committee has called on the CEOs of several online platforms. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee Chairman James Comer has asked the bosses of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to testify at a hearing that is scheduled for October 8th, citing, quote, the radicalization of online forum users, unquote. Now, I can understand maybe Discord, possibly Reddit. I don't understand Steam or Twitch being called, because Twitch is all out in the open. As is Steam is just games. I don't remember there being private forums on Steam. Maybe there is, and I just don't use Steam enough like that. again, this is mostly in response to the assassin using an online Discord server to apparently become radicalized. Again, this is all alleged by the FBI. None of this has been actually officially documented fully. Again, once the court case begins, then we'll know more if this is official. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying that's not true. All I'm saying is this is all alleged still at this time. The BBC is reporting it as well. But the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee said that the hearing is, quote, examine the radicalization of online forum users, including instances of open incitement to commit politically motivated acts. The politically motivated assassination of Charlie Kirk claimed the life of a husband, father, and American patriot. In the wake of this tragedy and amid other acts of politically motivated violence, Congress has a duty to oversee the online platforms that radicals have used to advance political violence. To prevent future radicalization and violence, the CEOs of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit must appear before the Oversight Committee and explain what actions they will take to ensure their platforms are not exploited for nefarious purposes, unquote. Now, regardless of where you stand on the issue, again, this has been something that's been debated for years in regards to social media and platforms online and things like that. Again, it'll be interesting to see if all of them show up. Individuals' letters were sent to Humam Saknini, the CEO of Discord, Gabe Newell, president of Steam, owner of Valve, Dan Clancy, CEO of Twitch, and Steve Huffman, CEO of Reddit. They will allegedly provide written testimony at least 2 business days prior to the hearing, and will have a chance to provide 5-minute opening statement prior to answering questions posted by members of the committee. Discord has told Reuters it is welcoming the opportunity, saying, quote, we continuously engage with policymakers on this critical issues and look forward to continuing this important dialogue next month, unquote. Reddit is insisting they haven't found evidence that the criminal was on its platform, saying, quote, strong policies against hateful content and content in sites encourages, glorifies, or calls for violence, unquote. Valve and Twitch have yet to make a statement. So there you go. Maybe Lord Gaben will return to the U.S. for the first time in a while. The Nintendo and Palworld suit is heating up as Nintendo is arguing that mods or modifications to games are not to be considered prior art in its response to Palworld, like taking their IP, essentially. Nintendo is claiming that Pocket Pair can't use images, and Pocket Pair tried to use the defense of Pokemon mods, saying that the franchise's patented gameplay was already being featured in other games elsewhere. An argument put forth by Nintendo, though, is saying that mods require a separate base game to function, so they're not art themselves. Again, Nintendo is very litigious, and this, if accepted by a judge, this could have far-reaching consequences across the industry as a whole, and you know other publishers are going to be watching this. And Games Fray, which reported the development, games industry reporter and legal analyst Florian Mueller says that the suggestion that these ideas are innovations in mods is, quote, utter disregard for the enormous creativity, unquote, of many mod makers. I'm looking at you, Bethesda mod makers. He said that this could be open the door to other mods being considered fair game for patent thieves, so people could steal the ideas from mods and eventually put them into new full games without permission from the mod makers, and then essentially own that thing that a mod maker might have come up with. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in front of a judge. Steam has announced that it's dropping support for Windows 10 32-bit because it only represents 0.01% of the player base. First off, I don't think I've ever seen a Windows 32-bit operating system, to be honest, to be fair. I've only seen 64-bit, like anywhere. I don't know. Fortnite is stepping up its attempts to compete with Roblox. They have announced that creators will be able to sell in-game items through an auction house, essentially, and earn a better cut of sales than they would if they sold original content in Roblox, which is very interesting. Fortnite's numbers have been dropping as of late, which is something new for them to experience. But Roblox has been spiking, essentially, their player base. Epic is doubling down, though, for creators. And in a blog post, they have said that Epic will hand over 50% of the V-Bucks value of purchases made in third-party experiences after store platform fees, raised to 100% through the program's first year, which is until December 31st of 2026. So creators will earn about 37% of in-game sales, doubled to 74% for the first year. Roblox only offers 25%, apparently. So, there you go. Fortnite wants you and your content that you make. Xbox has announced a new price hike. This is the second time this year, and prices are going up immensely. So prices went up back in May, and now, starting next week, October 3rd, the retail price of all Xbox Series consoles will go up. The Xbox Series S 512 gigabyte will now cost $399, up from the $20, up $20 from when it went up in May from $379. So the Xbox Series S is now like $100 more than it was when it launched, which is asinine. It's 5 fucking years later. These prices should not be going up. The Xbox Series S 1 terabyte will go up $20 to $449.99. The Xbox Series X All Digital Edition will go up $50 to $599.99. The Xbox Series X Standard will go up $50 to $649.99. And the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Special Edition will go up $70 to $799.99. An $800 Xbox. That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. I swear. So when these launched in 2020, the Series X launched at $499, so it is now up $150. And the Series S launched at $299. It is now up $100. That is asinine. And Xbox is claiming that the prices are, quote, due to changes in the macroeconomic environment. And that they will, quote, continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and providing value for Xbox players, unquote. That is the most ridiculous reason I have ever heard. Obviously, this is partly due to tariffs, but if you were to ask a former a former Blizzard president, he says it's due to profitability. So Mike Ibarra, who used to work for Blizzard, he used to work for Xbox, he's worked for Microsoft, all of that for a very long time. He is claiming this is a cash grab from Microsoft, which, again, they've been doing some really strange fucking things lately, especially as they try to focus on AI and things like that. Costco is removing Xbox products from their online and in-store inventory, which that's not a good thing. What's the point of an Xbox now at this point? Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black, when it launched, it was $599. It is now $200 more expensive. This is what Mikey Barra had to say, quote, console price increases are not tariff issues, they are profit issues. And the reason why profits are not where they should be is far, far deeper issue versus the tariff excuse. Tariffs went up once, so that does justify the single price increase. An excuse to continue raising prices with no increase in tariffs is simply a different problem, and they are going to make consumers continue to pay for these problems, unquote. He's not wrong. The May price increase, you can justify. This one is unreal. And again, what is the point of what is the point of buying an Xbox if you don't have one already at these prices? It's almost like they want their brand to fail. Right? What is the end goal here? No one is going to buy that $800 one. Like, seriously. I don't know. And it's not even beefed up from like the regular, other than the 2 terabytes. This, like, at least people had somewhat of a reason to buy the PS5 Pro, which like no one fucking talks about anymore, which is kind of funny to me. But where is the justification for these prices? There's zero. Absolutely zero, in my personal opinion. And I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking that. The May prices you can justify. The May price increase you can somewhat justify through tariffs. This one that's coming next week, unjustified in every way, shape, and form. What is Xbox doing? Xbox was leading consumer. What am I trying to say? It was leading in being pro-consumer, and now it's being like more anti-consumer than the other two, who are famously anti-consumer. I don't understand what's going on in the house that Gates built. Makes zero sense. Why punish people that want to use your platform? You know? Or are you going to push people towards the handheld, which again is probably going to be similar pricing structure? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Nintendo is in some hot water, as per usual at this point. That Nintendo of America is outsourcing their customer support services, which has resulted in hundreds of contractors losing jobs, which is a strange thing to do when you just launched a new console and holiday gaming season is going to start ramping up. So, it used to have IGN has talked to some former employees, and which is strange to hear this, especially I work in customer support, technical support. But former employees have painted working there as a rigorous structure for training and maintaining customer support services in the U.S., but it has been suffering significantly due to language barriers, poor communication, and Nintendo's overall decision-making on how to handle transition from U.S.-based support to outsourced support to South America, which is what they've been doing. Again, Nintendo was famously known for having amazing support for its consoles. Back in the day, it had I think they were called Game Masters or whatever, where they would help you beat a level or a game if you needed it. Which, again, obviously costs are going to be a huge part of this. Nintendo of America historically contracted with 2 U.S.-based agencies to fill roles, but that were, quote, back office teams, fraud, financials, chargebacks, customer services, chat logs, customer phone and email support, refunds, account bans, remote data transfers, repair support, everything customer support. There are a few people remaining on site overseeing it, but essentially it's all going away, unquote. Famously, Americans love when they talk to non-Americans for support. It is contract employees that were let go, many of whom had been there for years, though, but were never officially hired on full-time. Nintendo of America would contract them for 11 months at a time. Ooh, that's not good. They'd get let go for 2 months and then rehired, which is, again, ridiculous to do that kind of thing. It's strange to see them do this. We'll see, though, what happens with the Nintendo. IGN has a huge expose on it, and we'll see ultimately what happens if there's a loud enough outcry in response to this as well. Circling back again now to Xbox, we've learned a little bit more about what Xbox had wanted from Perfect Dark. It looks like they were hoping to get some kind of a James Bond, Metal Gear Solid type game, because they wanted it to be like a stealth action game, potentially episodic, because there were not a lot of secret agent games coming out anymore. Obviously, this was before Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater was announced, before a James Bond game was announced, with both of those near release. So, in a new MP First report on the Perfect Dark game that was recently canceled and almost sold and things like that, but according to internal development documentation, Microsoft had envisioned Perfect Dark as a game inspired by Westworld and things like that. And what we saw of the vertical slice that was released would have been part of what was being called as, quote, Season 1. There was a report 2 years ago during news of troubled development that the game might be episodic, but it was never officially confirmed. It looks like now it is. Other things from the report mentioned an adrenaline system that you could use to heal, increase damage, or reduce incoming damage. We'd be able to focus and slow down time, dodge bullets, things like that was being developed. IGN and Bloomberg ultimately reported the game's cancellation and potential sale that never got off the ground. But it's unfortunate, though, that they had to cancel it, and people are just confused at whatever Microsoft and Xbox are doing. As I said before, even with the price hikes, it just doesn't make any sense. Pal World is working on a new game, which is, again, strange that this is happening while Nintendo is suing them. Pocket Pair has announced a new spin-off game called Pal World Pal Farm, which now flies in the face of that Pokemon game that was announced that's a lot like Animal Crossing. Okay, so really, Pocket Pair, you're not copying Pokemon? Pal World Pal Farm is a game where you and your pals will farm, craft, and live on life on the land. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. That is similar. People are comparing it to both Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley, which, again, Stardew Valley is a lot like Animal Crossing as well. And they've announced it on their Steam page. It'll be a slice-of-life farming and crafting sim set on the Palpagos Islands. This is just outright. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Anyway, the Tokyo Game Show has kicked off this week, and before that, though, Hideo Kojima showed off some of his upcoming projects at the Kojima Productions Beyond the Strand live stream, showing off several new games. We finally got a trailer for his Xbox game, OD, I don't know if we have a release date for that, but Hideo Kojima and Phil Spencer showed off the trailer, which looks amazing. Still don't know much about it. Gameplay was shown, people entering rooms, different things. Like I said, everything looks amazing. But it will star Udo Kier, Hunter Schafer, and some others. It is still being called OD, but it will have a subtitle of OD Knock. And Kojima saying you'll want to, quote, fear of the knock, unquote, which is strange. Jordan Peele will be helping with this project as well, and Fear of the Knock will be Kojima's focus. But no release date as of yet. We also got to look at his new PlayStation game called Fizzant, which I don't think is coming out for like a decade, knowing Kojima's timetables. As the game's still in the conceptual phase, he released a trailer and announced casting Charlie Frazier, who was in Mad Max Furiosa, Don Lee from Eternals, Minami Hamabe from Godzilla -1 will all be joining the cast, and that's all we know about it. We also got to look at Death Stranding Mosquito is the new animation project that will take place within the Death Stranding world. We got a trailer for that. He announced a new augmented reality project with Niantic, the team behind Pokemon Go and things like that. No word on what it will be called, but it is, quote, aiming to, quote, move beyond the screen and redefine immersive entertainment, unquote. I don't know what any of that means. We got an update on the Death Stranding movie that's coming from A24, from director Michael Sarnowski. So they're going to tell a new story within the world, so it's not going to be based on the games. And then Kojima Productions will be partnering with Mitsubishi on a credit card. Okay. And then Kojima Productions and Shimizu Saizaburo Shoten are teaming up for a Zaku Luden's sake. So that's going to be a sake drink. They've discussed a 20-year plan for Kojima Productions and phasing that out. That first phase was through 2019. The second phase was 2019 through 2025 and up to 2030. They celebrated their 10th anniversary, which is coming up. So that was everything at the Kojima Productions. Microsoft and Activision also showed off a load of new details about Black Ops 7 and its upcoming multiplayer suite. We got a new trailer for it, which showed off the Omni movement system has been updated with wall running and things like that to fit the near future tone of the game, which is set in 2035. The beta, if you pre-order the game, you'll be able to play the beta, which starts October 2nd. And we learned about different game modes that will be in the beta and new game modes being added to the game in general. One of them being Overload, which will be available during the beta as well. It is you fight for the possession of the Overload device in a new push and pull 6v6 respawn mode. Challenges teams to overload enemies' control zones. Only one device spawns on the map at a time. Get in, grab, and before the other side can. Things like that. Other announced modes, which are Call of Duty staples. Team Deathmatch, I think everybody knows what that is at this point, will be available in the beta. Domination. Search and Destroy is coming back, but will not be in the beta. Kill confirmed in the beta. Free for All and Hardpoint in the beta. Also returning are Gunfight, Kill Order, and Control. New alternate modes announced. Face-Off Domination, Face-Off Team Deathmatch, Face-Off Kill Order, and Face-Off Kill confirmed. Face-Off will bring small team combat to more compact maps. Skirmish is a new 20v20 multiplayer mode, and the training course private matches return as well. They showed off the maps. There will be 16 maps at launch plus 2 large-scale 20v20 skirmish maps, maps that have been announced, 6v6, Blackheart, Cortex, Exposure, Imprint, The Forge, and Toshin will all be in the beta. Other maps are Colossus, Den, Flagship, Homestead, Paranoia, Retrieval, and Scar. And then 3 maps are returning from Black Ops 2, as this is a direct sequel to Black Ops 2. Those maps are Express, Hijacked, and Raid. The 2 skirmish maps are Mission Edge and Mission Tide. Blackheart is a core 6v6 small-sized map on a drilling platform. And then they go on to explain all the other maps as well, if you want to check those out. As well as the skirmish maps. Loadouts and equipment are changing quite a bit. Loadout menu will be comprised of the following. So a lot like Black Ops 6, it looks like. A primary weapon, secondary weapon, melee weapon, tactical, lethal, field upgrade, perks, combat specialty, and a wild card. New feature, though, will be overclocks. You'll now be able to customize your tactical and lethal equipment, field upgrades, and score streaks using the overclock system. Effective use of these individual loadout items will unlock up to 2 overclock abilities over time, providing a variety of benefits like a lower score cost for score streaks, decreased charge time for field upgrades, and extra lethality for your equipment. Select overclock ability that works best for your playstyle and reap the rewards of even greater power. Anyway, moving on. Primary weapons will include assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, LMGs, marksman rifles, and sniper rifles. Secondary weapons will be pistols and launchers. Melee weapons are returning. Tacticals have been updated quite a bit. Stun grenade, EMP grenade, which will disable vehicles, electronics, score streaks, things like that. Flashbang, stim shot, pinpoint grenade, a new grenade that will detect enemies within range. Close enemies are shot with tracking devices that can be removed by the victims if they find it. And it lists all their overclock abilities. I'm not going to say all that. You can find it online. A new psych grenade explodes on impact with the ground, releasing a lingering cloud of hallucinogenic gas. And then Hunter Bot, a personal defense device that hovers near and homes in on enemy equipment. Lethals have been updated as well. Typical grenades like frag, sticky, cluster, a combat axe. Point turret is new. Small deployable sentry turret automatically shoots at enemies. A needle drone, small flying drone that explodes on impact, toggles between auto or manual control. C4 and Molotov are also returning. Field upgrades, assault pack for ammo, drone pod, deployable device that launches aerial drones. Drones seek out enemies and explode. Trophy system, we know. Active camo. Ooh, okay, active camouflage is nice. Echo unit, holographic soldier, decoy tricks enemies and captures and holds objectives. Okay, that's cool. That's going to be abused, though. Squad link, deployed device that boosts score and improves effectiveness of allied operators' gadgets and range. Additional field upgrades. Fear trap, a deployed trap which emits a neurotoxic gas cloud. Black hat, device that hacks enemies' equipment and score streaks. Or mute field, a stealth device that reduces your footstep volume, hides you from enemy minimaps, and more. Wild cards were announced. Most of them are returning. Gunfighter, overkill, perk greed, specialist as well. Specialist will replace score streaks with 3 additional perks. Choose between perks 4, 5, and 6 are earned like low-level score streaks. Perks are returning. Most of them are the same. Doesn't look like any of these are new. Obviously, we'll have to look. There are going to be some newer ones, but we'll see. Combat specialties, again, the same. Oh, but now they'll be hybrid. Red and blue perks can be hybridized. Okay, that'll be interesting. Or you can do core specialty where you focus on one color. That'll be interesting to see for sure. Weapons details are shown off. Oh, they're showing off all the weapons that will be available at launch, as well as the score streaks and things like that. This is all available online for you guys to see, by the way. It goes pretty in depth for you guys to check out. If you guys are excited about Call of Duty, I highly recommend looking at it. It goes very in depth about everything. Moving on, we have more news about the League of Legends fighting game, which will be called 2XKO. It finally has an early access date and a community tournament sponsorship already. It went through a closed beta, but 2XKO will now have an early access release date of October 7th, which is just over a week. Just under 2 weeks from today. It's a 2v2 fighting game, which will feature characters from League of Legends and the animated series Arcane as well. That early access will be open to all PC players, no invite code required. Still no word yet on consoles. We'll kick off with Season 0 and debut of the game's 10th champion. Everything unlocked in early access will stay with players moving forward when it launches as well. So there you go. Arcane's fighting game is real and it's happening. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, the open world Avatar game from Ubisoft, is getting DLC tied to Fire and Ash, the third Avatar movie. Of all things, it's weird. Did you get a Way of the Water one? Sony has finally announced a replacement for its PlayStation Stars rewards program. This will now be the franchise rewards. It will be limited time physical merch items that will be locked behind trophies. Interesting. We'll start with Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, but franchise rewards that if you unlock specific in-game trophies by a certain date, you will have access to physical merch. But yeah, if you earn specific trophies in Ghost of Tsushima before December 31st this year, if you unlock the Mono no Aware gold trophy, you'll be granted the ability to pay $30 for a commemorative t-shirt. If you unlock the Living Legend Platinum Trophy, you can additionally choose to pay an additional $25 for a commemorative pin. You'll also need to pay for shipping as well. Average is around $13 within the U.S., expedited delivery around $25. People are not too happy. People want PlayStation Store cards or stars back, but yeah, pay to play, people are calling it, or the Destiny method. They'll be interesting for sure. I don't know how I feel about that personally. Just sell the damn merch. Just sell the damn merch. I don't know. Borderlands 4 on Switch 2 has been delayed indefinitely, and pre-orders have been canceled. This is in response to poor performance on PC, issues on console, and this was supposed to come out a week from now on the Switch 2, which is not a good sign for Borderlands 4, which is also on Unreal Engine 5, which I thought Unreal Engine 5 was supposed to be good here, people. It was supposed to come out next week. Gearbox has given no real updates, but now we know that it has been delayed indefinitely as Gearbox is working to fix and patch the console versions as well as the PC version, which we talked about last week has been facing an uphill battle. And now finally on to our last bit of gaming news, the PlayStation State of Play. That was today. Several things were announced by PlayStation, some surprising, some not. The biggest, of course, being we finally got a gameplay trailer of Insomniacs' Wolverine game. We've been waiting years for this since it was announced. It does have a fall 2026 release date or release window. So I think that's 5 years since it was initially announced. The trailer is very, very graphic. This game is going to be a hard M rating for sure. You kind of need that with a Wolverine game. The gameplay looks smooth based on what we see. Again, it's a vertical slice. It's a trailer. We don't know what final output would be, especially a year from now. We will be able to play as Logan. Liam McIntyre is voicing the character. We will also get to play as Mystique, it looked like. Mystique was shown off. The classic yellow and black suit. It looks like we'll also face off against Omega Red, a Sentinel, and several other known X-Men characters. So that's exciting. I'm very, very excited for this game. I've been waiting a while. We got a new trailer and gameplay demo of Saros, the upcoming sequel to Returnal from House Marquee. And the game is expected to release on March 20th, 2026. While it's not a full sequel, it is a set within the same world as Returnal, and will be another roguelike type game. We got a trailer for the Battlefield 6 campaign. Nioh 3 was given a release date of February 6th, 2026. I don't know if that will be on other consoles. I know Xbox said what games were coming to them as well. Zero Parades, For Dead Spies, will be a new spy fantasy game from the team behind Disco Elysium. That is expected out sometime next year. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, got a gameplay trailer and overview before it comes out next week. Crimson Desert is a new action-adventure game from the team that make the Crimson games. Chronoscript, The Endless End Tales, the tale of an editor... Chronoscript, The Endless End is a game where you play as an editor trapped in a manuscript of an endless story. That will be released next year. Code Vein 2 will release in January. The PlayStation Plus games catalog for October got a lineup announcement. Alan Wake 2 will be included in that. Another Microsoft former exclusive is heading to PlayStation 5. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is available now on PlayStation 5. It will be available December 8th on PlayStation 5. Still no Halo. And no, despite the rumors and weird speculation online, Horizon Zero Dawn is not going to Xbox. Gran Turismo celebrates its 100 million units sold with a new update for Gran Turismo 7. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds will be getting Mega Man next year. Deus Ex Remastered was announced and will be releasing in February. And we got a gameplay reveal of Halloween, the Halloween game as well. Let It Die Inferno will be released on PlayStation 5 before the end of the year. Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered is coming to the PS5 next year in March. Last Epic Ouroboros is a new expansion for the Last Epic. It's coming to PS5. The Seven Deadly Sins Origin is a new game set within the Seven Deadly Sins anime. That's going to be releasing in January. An epic DualSense controller that is white with a red stripe, marking the 20th anniversary of the God of War franchise. No new God of War game. The controller will be $84.99 and will be available to pre-order starting next week. And Sony announced official PlayStation wireless speakers. Of all things, Sony does make great sound equipment. I will give them that. They will be called the Pulse Elevate. They are designed for use with PS5 or a desktop PC setup. They can also work with PlayStation Portal or a smartphone if you choose. They are sold in pairs in midnight black or white. Will have a built-in microphone and quote, AI-enhanced noise rejection system, unquote. So you can use them for voice chat. No pricing, but are due out next year. I'm kind of surprised by that. They're cool, kind of cool looking. Very simple, but now, look, like I said, Sony is known for great sound equipment. Their headphones are some of the best. We'll see how these speakers are, though. But Sony and PlayStation said, quote, Pulse Elevate is powered by PlayStation Link technology for ultra-low latency and lossless connectivity to deliver sound as it happens on compatible devices, unquote. They also said, quote, each speaker features studio-inspired planar magnetic drivers for lifelike sound across the entire audible spectrum. This means players can hear games exactly how developers intended, whether they're playing on PS5, PC, Mac, or PlayStation Portal, unquote. On PS5, you'll be able to fiddle with volume mix, EQ, side tone, volume, and mic mute settings directly via system menus. Post-launch options will be available on PC. And that is it for gaming news. Tokyo Game Show continues tonight with Xbox's show at 3 a.m. Pacific time. A new Forza Horizon is expected to be announced, by the way. They also tweeted something. They tweeted X Bonks today, whatever the fuck that means, and some other brands got in on the fun and the weirdness. But that is it for gaming. Let's head on up the 5 freeway and see what's going on in Hollywood, shall we? All right, so we've got official confirmation that Daredevil Born Again has been renewed for a quote-unquote third season. Realistically, it's just part 3, as season 1 is being broken up into 2 parts. It is expected to start filming next year with Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox returning. No word on any other cast members. We got another new image of Star Wars Starfighter being shown off. Everyone's kind of confused why it looks like they're at sea. Is this a Starfighter movie or is this Waterworld? Eckhart's Ladder, which is one of the great Star Wars creators I follow on YouTube too, made a point that Ryan Gosling's character looks a hell of a lot like Cade Skywalker. While that wouldn't make sense in the timeline, considering Cade Skywalker's from Legends comics, where he's like the great-great-great-great-grandson of Luke or something. It's like 100+ years into the future. I doubt he's Cade. He just looks a lot like Cade's look. But we still don't know much about the movie. I hope it's in space. We got a lot of updates about Spider-Man Brand New Day, surprisingly. Tom Holland is calling it a rebirth, quote-unquote, what he's calling the next chapter, even though he's going to take a break from acting in 2027. Speaking with Complex Pop, Tom Holland talked about it, saying, quote, I'd just like to spend time with my friends and family. I love taking these kinds of little breaks for me to travel or to work on life stuff and sort my accounts out. I want to make sure I can just be a well-rounded human being rather than just being a work machine that's just constantly on set, unquote. He also talked about Brand New Day, though, saying, quote, really feels like we aren't making the 4th movie. We're making the first movie in the chapter. This is a rebirth. This is something completely new, unquote. I'll take that. The problem is filming has stopped for quite a bit as he has suffered a head injury. It is expected to resume sometime next week as Tom Holland suffered a, quote, mild concussion, unquote, while filming, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Sony Pictures decided to shut down production for the week rather than film without him. It is not expected to impact the release date of next July. He was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance after suffering a head injury, which means he fell and hit his head, essentially. UK newspaper The Sun confirmed it and cracked his head in a fall. That's wild. Glad he's healing and doing well, though. We also learned that, this was yesterday, that Marvin Jones III will be playing Tombstone in the film. Marvin Jones III famously portrayed Tombstone in the Insomniacs Spider-Man video games. Oh, sorry, no. in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film. I don't know why I said the video game. He also played the Whale in Black Lightning on the CW. Deadline is reporting that he will be playing the live action of Tombstone as well. So, a lot of villains are going to be in this movie. I hope this doesn't have the Spider-Man 3 problem. And then we finally got a trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And there is no dialogue in this trailer. Grogu has clearly grown up. The Razor Crest is somehow back, or a new version of the ship with the Mandalorian, or maybe there's some time-hopping shenanigans. We got to see Zeb in action, which is awesome to see. We only got him kind of walking up and talking in the show. It'll be nice to see him actually moving around like he did in Rebels. I'm very excited for that. We got to see Sigourney Weaver's character. Like I said, more of Grogu. We did get to see the Hutt in the fighting chamber, which is purported to be Rhoda, Jabba's son, being voiced by Jeremy Allen White. So we'll see if that pans out the way it does. There's a lot of other cool stuff in the trailer. It shows him blowing up an AT-AT as they precariously walk along a mountain edge trail. So that was fun. I have seen some complaints that it doesn't look like a film, and I understand that as well. I can see some of that. So we'll see how it plays out given the tepid response to the third season of The Mandalorian. But I'm excited for this movie nonetheless. It's a Star Wars movie on the big screen. The first time it'll be the first time in 7 years when it releases in May, given that the last Star Wars film was The Rise of Skywalker back in 2019. The poster is also epic. It's reminiscent of old adventure serials from back in the day, even the font they use for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And surprisingly, it features the Hutt twins from the Book of Boba Fett show. So we're going to have several Hutts. We haven't had Hutts on the big screen since, Return? No. There hasn't been a major Hutt on the big screen since The Phantom Menace, I think. Because Jabba's not in the Attack of the Clones or in Revenge of the Revenge of the Sith. And he's only technically in Return of the Jedi. He was added, of course, to A New Hope in the special edition. And there are no Hutts in the sequel trilogy. So this will be the first time a Hutt is on screen since The Phantom Menace. So that's exciting to see. Grogu is on the poster like 5 or 6 times, which, whatever. But I'm excited to see what this movie is about and how it plays out and things like that. The Mandalorian and Grogu releases next May. Are any of you going to New York Comic-Con? Well, you might be horrified to learn that a hologram recreation of Stan Lee will be at the show. And for $20, you can have a 3-minute conversation with an AI hologram of Stan Lee. Marvel fans are, of course, upset. I think the general public might be. While a cool idea, in reality, it's a horrible, horrible cash grab on his likeness. This will be between Proto Hologram and Cartoon Studios, which owns the rights to his likeness. You'll be able to meet and have a conversation with him for between $15 and $20 for up to a 3-minute chat. Marvel fans are not too happy. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that head of Stan Lee Legacy Programs Bob Saboni said, quote, "We'll never put words in his mouth that aren't in line with things he spoke about in his lifetime. Fortunately, with decades of footage capturing his thoughts on so many subjects, we can build a voice that stays true, not always word for word, but always faithful in spirit, context, and intent," unquote. Yeah, I don't agree with that really. And he'll also be at LA Comic-Con as well. and not just, oh, this is LA Comic-Con and not New York Comic-Con. That's weird. Most people are not on board with it. I'm not on board with it. I think it's very strange. The creators of South Park have spoken out about why there was another delay in episodes, saying it is going to be they said it's also going to be great. Reported by Variety, Trey Parker and Matt Stone issued a statement saying, quote, apparently when you do everything at the last minute, sometimes you don't get it done. This one's on us. We didn't get it done in time. Thanks to Comedy Central and South Park fans for being so understanding. Tune in next week, unquote. As they've been creating episodes on a week-by-week basis, not in advance. We also got our first leak from the Avengers Doomsday set as production, as filming production has wrapped, and they head into post-production on the film. And it has to do with a production swag that was handed out to staff. But it comes with a bag that features the likenesses of 28 of the characters, including the original Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the New Avengers, and some of the X-Men. But we got to see some of the costumes on them. It looks like some of them are getting original costuming, which, again, makes sense. But surprisingly, this is the only leak that we've had for an Avengers film. They've been very tight on this one, and I'm not surprised. Following up on last week's just a rant and a conversation I really shouldn't have needed to have, Jimmy Kimmel is back on the airwaves as of yesterday, after many comedians spoke out in his defense, as well as all the other late-night hosts, and they featured some funny skits. Many people called for a boycott of ABC, and Disney Plus cancellations were widespread, even having Tatiana Maslany post on her socials to cancel. Mark Hamill said something, but as we've now learned, Kimmel did return to air. This is where I heard, I don't know if this was ever confirmed, it was alleged that Disney lost over $3 billion between the announcement that they would be pulling him from the airwaves and when they reinstated him. So it was obvious that a boycott and a market response generated something that was initiated based on many comments made by the FCC chairman that seemed to be like it was partially government intervention. Regardless of how you feel of what he said, most people probably have no idea what he actually said. It was quite tame in reality and had nothing to do with the horrific event and was more criticizing a certain world leader. That is not something you should be pulled off the airwaves for, realistically. Regardless of if you take offense or not. That's not how things work here. If he was going to get pulled for market conditions, which was the reason Colbert was pulled, that's fine. That is well and reasonable. If he is losing money for the network, which allegedly he is, that is a reasonable reason to be pulled. But that is not the reason that was made. Okay? We're not going to talk about it anymore. He's back on the airwaves. I'm happy that this did not continue for longer. It went on for longer than it should have in general. But we're done. It's over. We're done. We're not talking about it anymore. It happened. It's over. We can move on. James Gunn was on the Two Bears podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. If you guys know who Bert Kreischer is, if you guys know who Tom Segura is, they have a podcast together. It's literally one of the greatest podcasts ever because it's hilarious. But James Gunn has been talking about, Batman and what Batman will look like, how he picked David Cornsweet and things like that. but he talked about with Tom Segura, because Bert Kreischer wasn't there that week. Unfortunate, because I would have loved to see him interact with Bert as well. Was asked about fan requests around Batman and things like that. Tom Segura asked him if we'd ever get a blue-gray Batman that we normally get in the comics. And James kind of questioned that, saying, quote, "No, it's not everybody. It's not everybody, because I have somebody saying, please give us this Batman." And then they put a picture of the blue-gray Batman on Threads or whatever. And then somebody else says, "You're a piece of shit." I'm like, he's a piece of shit because he likes? That is pretty harsh. There's a religious aspect to so much of this stuff that's very uncomfortable, because should Batman have white eyes? That's a big subject of conversation. And it's like, guys, like, that's really what matters? But those are the things they care about. Should his utility belt be yellow? Should he have a yellow crest around the bat? All of that sort of stuff. And none of those things are what's most important to me. What matters is the character, the story, and I think that we have a really good story for now, what's happening with Batman. I think that's one of the fun things about Batman, though, is that there are so many expressions of Batman that are cool, and different ways to access that character is one of the ways in which he's so iconic. So I don't think it's a matter of the blue and the gray or the black Batman. I think both those things are really cool. I like the Detective Batman, but I also really like the Fighter Batman that's just the brute that's fighting. I like the silly 50s Silver Age Batman with Batmite that's kind of closer to what the original Batman TV show was like. I like all of these different versions of Batman, unquote. I agree with just about everything he said, except the Silver Age Batman stuff with Batmite. As you guys all know, I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm really upset there wasn't an announcement on Batman Day on Saturday for anything, but I wish we had a casting announcement. But James Gunn is right. I don't care if Batman is blue and gray. I don't care if he's in a black suit, a gray suit, whatever. It all comes down to how the suit looks, regardless of color, and the story and everything like that. That is what makes Batman Batman. I'm not being a shill right now. I'm just being a Batman fan. Straight up. And realistically, the blue was only because you couldn't really print black ink in comics back in the day. So technically, he never really was blue. It's just that's how the printing came out. That's how the ink showed up on the paper. So, like, that's what that was about. But realistically, he is saying the right things and has been saying the right things for a long time. And I think we really need to give him a chance, especially as Peacemaker keeps chugging along. And I cannot wait to see what happens more in Peacemaker as we have more multiverse shenanigans going on. Disney Plus has announced price hikes that are coming. Not happy about this. I think I'm going to have to adjust. I've had the Disney Plus Hulu ESPN bundle since its inception. And I think that is no longer going to be a good thing for what I need, as ESPN prices are what's going up. This is just, I'm really fucking over all of these price hikes on these streaming services. They were supposed to be a better alternative to cable. Now, it's like, get the fuck out of here. We're back to cable again. So starting next month, we'll have all new pricing. Disney offers 2 standalone plans as of right now. Disney Plus Basic and Disney Plus Premium. And it's whether you get ads or not. If you can get downloadable content to watch on the go, or if you get Dolby Atmos. And that's if you want Hulu or ESPN Plus. They have the HBO Max bundle as well, which is a strange bundle. There is no free trial, but prices will go into effect on October 21st, a year after they increased last year around the same time. Everything is going up by $2. And this is also with Hulu merging into Disney Plus next year, as the Hulu app will be sunsetted. This is ridiculous, man. Starting October 1st, the Disney Plus Basic will go to $11.99 a month. That's Disney Plus with ads, no downloads, supports up to 5.1 audio, up to 4K HD video quality, 4 screens at once, no extra cost, and 300 titles in 4K UHD and HDR. The next plan is Disney Plus Premium, which will go up to $18.99 a month. And that is Disney Plus with no ads, unlimited downloads on up to 10 devices, 4 screens, Dolby Atmos, 300 plus titles. Disney Plus bundle options. Disney Plus Hulu bundle basic will go up to $12.99 a month. And that's Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, no downloads, 4 screens at once, over 300 titles. Disney Plus Hulu bundle premium will be $19.99 a month. Disney Plus and Hulu with no ads, unlimited downloads, 4 screens, 300 titles, Dolby Atmos. Then there is Disney Plus Hulu and ESPN Select, which will go up to $19.99 a month. That's Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, ESPN Select with ads, and no downloads. ESPN Select, which was previously known as ESPN Plus, will allow you to stream live sports and all of 30 for 30, select ESPN films, game replays, and more. Which is, again, ridiculous. And then the bundle I currently have, I think, is... I'll have to figure it out. But then they have Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Select Premium, which is going to be $29.99 a month, which is, I think, a ridiculous price. Disney Plus, no ads. Hulu, no ads. ESPN Plus, no ads. Unlimited downloads, 4 screens. Then there's ESPN Unlimited with those, and that's $35.99 a month, which is Disney Plus with ads. First off, you're paying $35 a month for stuff with ads. Ridiculous. ESPN Networks and Services and ESPN Plus. So live TV, essentially, which you can't get rid of ads there. But that means you can watch sports that stream on ESPN through that package. Then there's the Disney Plus Hulu ESPN Unlimited Premium, which is $45 a month, and that's no ads on Disney Plus or Hulu. There's the HBO Max bundle with ads, where all 3 come with ads for $16.99 a month. There's the Disney Plus Hulu and Max bundle Premium with no ads for $30 a month. And then there's the Legacy Disney bundle. This is the one I have, which is now currently $22 a month, which is outrageous. It started at like $12. That will go up to $25 a month. That is Disney Plus with no ads, Hulu with ads, ESPN Plus with ads, no downloads. Yeah, it would be cheaper for me to go to just the Disney Plus and Hulu Premium, so that way I don't have ads on any of them. It's cheaper that way. And just get rid of ESPN Plus, which I don't really use anymore. So I'm going to definitely have to change that up. This is ridiculous. Alien Earth ended last night, and as of recording, a second season hasn't been greenlit or announced. I'm sure we will get one because of the praise this show got. I'm kind of shocked at how it ended, realistically. Morrow is still my favorite character, even though he got shafted in the finale. Technically, a lot of people did. The Lost Boys are now in charge, is what I'll say. And it ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger with the Yutani troops incoming on the Neverland Island. But if they don't give this show a second season, I think a lot of people will be mad, and this will be a missed opportunity for Disney in 20th century. this is definitely an opportunity they need to take advantage of. I know they're going to start ramping up for the Predator half of the franchise right now, but hopefully Alien Earth gets a second season. If not, it ended in a way that doesn't affect the timeline or the movies or anything like that. But realistically, they need to be given a second season. Marvel Zombies is on Disney Plus. It's really good. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's very graphic and violent and not for kids. Just fair warning. It's fun, though. It's fun at the same time. It's a continuation of the What If episode. I really dig it. I can't wait to finish it. It's only 4 episodes. Definitely check it out if you guys like that Marvel animation stuff. Gen V came back last week, the Boys spinoff, and I need to know what's going on with Cypher. That dude is sketchy as hell. But I'm happy to see all of them return to school, and it's explained in a good way. And they handle the death of Chase Padromo very well, considering his untimely death last year. And then a new report. This is the last bit of movie news here. A new report has come out that Amazon is going to make the right decision, allegedly, and go with an unknown British male for the next 007. That is a smart decision. The reports about Henry Cavill or Idris Elba are incorrect. And Deadline sources, Deadline is usually good with this. Filmmakers are looking to cast a fresh face in James Bond 26. It will be the 26th James Bond film. That's right. They're looking for a male in their late 20s or early 30s. So, rumored actors like Tom Holland, Taron Egerton, and Aaron Taylor Johnson are ruled out based on those numbers. There were reports of Scott Rose Marsh screen testing for Denis Villeneuve, but the casting process has not begun and will not begin until after the 3rd Dune movie, per Deadline, which makes sense. The man needs to focus on that, not James Bond right now. They have thought about a non-white actor, which I don't understand why that would need to matter in 2025. England is a very diverse place. The Great Britain is as well. All that matters is, are they right for the role? And I agree. It just, like I said, as I've said before, it has to be someone from the British Isles. Just any of those countries, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, England, Isle of Man, Northern Ireland. They have to be from there, and that's it. That's my only requirement, a dude from those islands. That is the only requirement to play James Bond, in my opinion, and it looks like they're going with that as well. But that movie is not expected to be out until at least 2028. That is it, though, for Nixner News. Thank you guys for listening week in, week out. Again, hopefully we don't have to have any discussions like we did last week. If you didn't like it, don't worry. That's not something that we do here regularly. And hopefully, like I said, will not happen again. Thank you guys again, listening week in, week out, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.
This has been a production of Nixner News. Please do not use without implicit faxed permission. And yes, that means with a fax machine.